toe, let's lead, let's hit, let's go. Holy hair, let's go, let's go, let's go.
So she's back and we have a 9-week grow out of the hand-tied extensions. I will show you guys kind of a close-up of what this looks like after 9 weeks grown out. And you can see it kind of sometimes gets a little matted here at the root, and we have used this hair a couple of times, so we'll probably reuse this hair one more time and then we'll do new hair. But once I take this out of her hair, I'm gonna comb this all out and get it smooth and nice. So all I'm gonna do to remove the extensions is I'm gonna go in with my plier tools and I'm just going to unclamp the beads. So come into this first bead here, I'm just gonna unclamp it. And you just squeeze it in the other direction. And then I'm gonna go through and unclamp all of the beads. And I've gotten a lot of questions on my previous video if I reuse the beads, and I definitely do not reuse the beads. That is like a big no-no because they will not stick again if you reuse them. Like, don't be cheap, just use new beads. And you may have to, if you have to flip it up to get some of the beads, because some of them might be hiding underneath, you can do that as well. Okay, so after you've unclamped all of the beads, you're just going to gently slide everything out. And this is a little tangled here, so it's kind of sticking. So it's okay. I'm just gonna grab my tangle teezer and comb this out. And this probably happened just from her sleeping on it, to be honest. You know, it's like at the back of her head where she probably lays on it. So this should slide out pretty easily after you unclamp the beads. This is gonna be her weft, and we just slid it out, and then I'm gonna show you guys how I remove everything off of the weft and get it all cleaned up to put back in. And as you can see, she doesn't have any breakage or anything happening on the section that we hand tied them in. And when you comb it out after you take the extensions out, there will be some hair that just naturally comes out, and that is perfectly normal. This is the hair that would have fallen out naturally if we didn't have extensions in, but they were just held in by the extensions. Okay, so after you've removed the weft out of your client's hair, you want to like take all of the yarn off, take the beads off. So you're going to carefully take some scissors, and you don't want to use your hair cutting scissors for this because you're not supposed to cut anything other than hair with your hair cutting scissors. So you just want to like cut only the strings. So we want to remove all of these beads and all of the yarn. So I'm just kind of going through and cutting the strings. And I have 2 wefts sewn together. So obviously when I cut the strings off, they're not going to be sewn together anymore, but that's totally fine. We'll re-sew them back together. But you want to be very careful that you don't actually cut the weft. Once you kind of get it started, it gets a little bit easier. You can just see the string is kind of coming unraveled. And then the beads will just come off as well. So we're just going through and we're taking all of the yarn off. And I had a couple comments on my previous instructional video of like an easier way to move these up. if you can just like unhook the beads and then just like slide it up. No, do not do that. You want to take the time to remove everything off of the wefts, get it all clean, and then we're gonna re-sew it back into her hair. You don't want to take shortcuts with this because it just won't be quality work, and you don't want to charge for poor quality work. And right now she's processing with her highlight color, so you can do this while your client processes color, or you can just have them wait a few minutes while you do this, however it works out. I always say that, you know, when you're removing the extensions and reapplying them, that is a great time to do the color, touch up their color, because you don't have the extensions in the way. You can just touch everything up. So I'm kind of just unknotting this all the way down. As you can see, it's all off on half of the weft. And then we're just going to take the rest of the beads off and the rest of the yarn off. I feel like the ends are the harder part because you kind of sew the knot at the end, so you just want to be very careful when you're doing the ends that you do not cut the weft. Just want to make sure that you're only cutting the yarn. Okay, so once you get all of the beads and the yarn off, we are going to just make sure we get any knots out that may have formed while these were in her hair. And so I'm using my Tangle teezer brush. And just brush them really good. And then these are all cleaned off and ready to go back in her hair.
Let's go, let's leave, let's hit, let's go.